So I had an interesting conversation with a friend of mine the other day, and the question came up, why don't more people use infinite banking? And I thought, what a great topic to shoot a video on. So today we're going to uncover the 5 biggest reasons why you or someone you know doesn't use infinite banking. Hi, I'm Matt.
And I'm Brian, and we are the Predictable Wealth Advocates. And what we do is we help ambitious millennials like yourself secure a predictable financial future without sacrificing your current lifestyle. So let's just jump right into it. Why is it that most people don't use infinite banking? So number 1 would be that they're listening to the wrong people.
Well, it's similar to when you go to college, right? And everybody's told you for years and years how important it is to get a degree, your master's degree, bachelor's degree, whatever. It's take $60,000 or $100,000 in debt and get your degree.
Everybody's doing it. Must be a good thing.
Supposedly. But if you ask any of my age, my generation, the millennial generation, if they regret going to school or taking as much money out as they have for school, I don't know if everybody would say, yes, I regret it, but I would say a large percentage do.
Well, especially for the weight of the debt that they have that's as a result of that.
Correct.
Because they didn't go for a specific reason per se. Like you went for a very specific reason.
Right.
But most people are like, well, I this $500 a month, $1,000 a month student loan kind of sucks. If I had known then what I know now, I wouldn't have ever done that. But they did it because that's what everybody else was doing.
Yeah, and so that's a mainstream idea, and that's really the number one reason why most people aren't using infinite banking is because the mainstream doesn't talk about it. And the people that do talk about it, they don't have a lot of experience in it, and they don't talk very highly of it. Mostly because they may have had an experience, small experience, whatever, one experience. However, they probably didn't work with somebody who really knew what they were doing. And we've talked about this in a previous video. It's really important to understand who you're working with when you're setting up infinite banking for yourself, because not all agents are created equal, and what they do isn't either. So it's important to do that. Now, going back to the mainstream idea, if you're always following that thought process, you had an interesting stat you were talking about earlier with millennials, and what our net worth is on average right now, strictly by following these outdated traditional ideas around wealth and education and just living the American dream.
So the average millennial, and there's a range of course, but the average millennial has a net worth of $8,000. So if traditional advice worked so well, wouldn't that number maybe look a little different?
I think so, absolutely. So, which leads us into number 2, going along those lines, the mainstream idea. The second reason why most people haven't used infinite banking is because they just haven't heard about it.
Yeah.
Right? Not a lot of people know about it. Not a lot of people talk about it. And if they do, it's probably not necessarily positive, right?
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing.
You can't use something that you don't know about. That seems obvious, but it's like, how could you have invested in Microsoft back in 2000 if you didn't know about it? You just got to know about it first in order to be able to use it.
So you're watching this video, hopefully you're not one of those people, all right? But number 3 is the reason why you wouldn't use infinite banking is because you don't understand it. It's complicated. At least it seems that way from the outset. But here's the deal about infinite banking, at least from what I found. You just have to know enough to get started. And once you get started, you start using it, everything starts to come together and you understand how powerful of an idea and concept and strategy it is for yourself. If you try to just wrap your mind around everything to start, it's challenging.
Yeah.
Because everybody's situation is different. Your goals are different from my goals. Your situation financially is different from mine. And to just cookbook recipe all of us into one big pot is impossible.
Right.
So it really helps to dive in with an agent who knows what they're doing and figure out exactly what you want to be doing, what your goals are. But then once you set up the policy, you'll learn each month about this more and more.
And we can shoot a whole another video on why most people don't understand it. It for sure can seem complicated.
Yeah.
Understand it from a high level perspective. And then I would say one of the reasons that people don't understand it is that they think, well, I could get maybe a better rate of return somewhere else, or it's just insurance, which those are 2 big misconceptions.
Correct.
We'll talk about that another time, but from the outside looking in, that's
you really do have to dive deeper into it to really understand the benefits of it.
Right.
You know, getting the superficial view is great, but understanding it's not all about the rate of return.
Mm-hmm.
And that's an important thing to understand. So again, check out one of our videos that we go into depth on that. The next piece is, at least is why people wouldn't use infinite banking, is they're just trying to see what happens. You know,
it'll all work out.
Yeah, it's like, I don't even want to think about this. I got my blinders on. Let me just get through this. It's too stressful to look at those numbers. And I used to be there looking at my bank accounts like, oh my God, I don't want to look at that. That's terrible. Got these loans. I don't want to look at that. But reality
It's
exists.
not a strategy.
No, exactly. Reality exists. And if you don't start to take control of this now, 20 years down the road, you're going to regret it. And the truth is, no matter how bad your situation is right now, if you start to build and look at this from an objective standpoint of this is really good or this is awful, let me start to build so eventually I can get to that really good place, as painful as it may be. Otherwise, you're going to suffer later on. It's like health. I have this happen in my office every day. I have 78-year-olds walk into my office with debilitating chronic pain that they just ignored when they were 40 or 50. And had they taken action at that point, things would have been better. I don't know if they would have been completely solved. I can't say that, but things would have been a lot better. And because they ignored it, 80, 90 years old, 70, 80, 90 years old is miserable. It's living hell. And it's ultimately due to what you're doing right now.
It's a great analogy.
Finance works the same way. And then another big one, the last one is, to that point, most people are looking for a quick fix. So going back to this health analogy, I see this in my office all the time too. Somebody walks in, they're expecting me to just flip a switch and fix their problem. Things don't work like that in the body.
It took a little while to get to that place, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And that to be said, once it got you to this place, it's going to take some time to get you out of it if you really want to completely eradicate the issue. And you can take a pill, you can take an over-the-counter prescription med or whatever you want. That's only going to cover up the symptoms. And we see that in finance too. Yeah, we could give you a quick fix, but you're never going to get out of this rut. It's going to continue to happen over and over again. And in the end, you're not going to be happy with where you're at. And the only way to understand infinite banking is this is not a quick fix. It's a long-term strategy that grows and grows and grows. Okay, so the last thing, and it goes into this point, there's also people out there who are at a place in their life where maybe money isn't such a big deal to them anymore. Maybe they've done a good job investing or they've made enough money to retire. However, this strategy isn't just about retirement. This strategy isn't just about growing more wealth. This strategy is about helping your future generations get that wealth as well in a tax-free way versus, oh, I got hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars to pass along, but the government's going to swoop in.
And I don't want to give it to the government because I worked so hard for it.
Exactly. And I don't blame you. That's where I'm at. So infinite banking presents a lot of different opportunities to give that money or pass that money along to your future generations in a tax-free way. It's an amazing strategy. It's extremely cool. Obviously, you can get it. We enjoy this thing. We think it's awesome.
You know, once you come to peace with, okay, well, these are the reasons I haven't heard about it, and this is why most people don't use it. Now that I know about it, and now that I know what I know, now I know the next steps that I want to take that might be good for me in my personal situation.
Yeah, so if you guys are getting the ideas of why it might be important for you to at least dive a little bit deeper into infinite banking, now you understand why most people aren't using it and why you probably should. Check out our other videos. We've got a bunch on there on this channel, as well as our masterclass, which we've got a link below in the description. Check that out. It's a free online course that you can get all kinds of information on infinite banking and how it can apply to you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Let's just jump right in, Brian.
All right. So why is it that most people don't use? Why is it that most people don't use?
Why is it that most people don't use?
That most people don't use it. Okay. Damn it, I said it right. Okay.
I gotta take myself to a happy place.
All right, you get there. Let me know when you're ready.